So thank you for allowing me to stand here and try to share my experience with you all. I'm not a good English speaker. That's not my language. So I speak Marathi, and I leave my English with say 1,000 words vocabulary. That's where I manage everything. Being in a technical field, you don't need to speak too much. A lot of great word. I speak a Marathi. Also, my family makes a lot of mistake out of it when I speak, and I have a very Bombaya Hindi. But all in all, it becomes basically a bit manageable when I want to communicate. So I will try to use this. How many people are very, very comfortable in speaking in Marathi, Hindi, and English? All you? Okay, very good. Then, then we can manage this session. Then there is one request from me. This is not a session where it's a monologue where I speak and answers. I don't want to be politically correct. I don't want to give you great answers. You can listen to MG sir, and you can probably read so many books and get that wisdom. I'm a man with more experience than more expertise. So I live and lead through people all the time. So those who with me becomes my strength. I don't carry my own strength anywhere I go. So that's what we start our journey with. And then after looking at Mr. Rokade's story and your story and vision and mission and what Mr. MG sir is doing, it's like now standing in front of, after Lata Mangeshkar singing, the local singer boy, and trying to tell his story. But let's see how can we make this more interesting. Where do I start? I have already, first time I have my family in front of me. My wife is a mechanical engineer. I am just a diploma mechanical engineer. So we have a strength in the family, and I cannot do any nonsense because then I know where I will get corrected to. Kids are there constantly keeping me on the ground. So there is also already instruction to me, speak less. Yeah. And then where I'm invited to speak. So we will see how we manage together. Now coming back to the story, I have a very ordinary story. Rajesh shared with my sickness, which probably is a life-changing event for me. And that's where you learn that it's so short, then you need to do a meaningful things. Is it necessary, honestly? Most of the people's story, a life-changing story, has had some incidents before. Is it necessary? Can I learn from others' mistake? Why do I have to go through pain to become something? This is one for reflection. We will also, in a question and answer session, we will spend some time on that. Coming back to my story, if you have something, let me introduce myself a bit. Okay, mechanical engineer, but a diploma mechanical engineer. So I said I'm a double mechanical engineer, DME. Then you will see the photographs there. Me and my wife and my two kids. My daughter is married. She lives in Germany. My son is with us in Sweden. He's a Swedish citizenship, but he left everything and came to India to start his own business. And I don't know exactly what is. As a father, I'm more having a lot of anxiety, but I do believe that he will do well. With kind of a forum I see here, he can have so many guides now going forward. My leadership style, servant leadership. We know Mahatma Gandhi and a servant leadership, and there are so many books on servant leadership. But basically, I don't take the position as basically a power is a way of driving things. Your job is to serve 360 degree. Most of the people engage with people or customers, or sometimes they struggle, but we need to have a 360 leadership. We will talk on that too. Stakeholder centric. We have 4 stakeholders in most of the organization. You have your customers, you have your employees, you have your suppliers, and also you have people who invest money in your organization, our investors. And we need to take care of them. And most of us are tuned to work in a way called either or, right? I do this or that. But no one thinks of both and beyond. And that's what, when I was looking at Mr. Rokade's presentation, actually, it is a 360 leadership which Mr. MG is trying to build. It's about personal transformation must happen before business transformation happens, or probably both has to happen at the same time. And we have our experiences where we failed so many times on such things. And I do fail many times in a day, in a month. That's what leadership is. I do feel that I'm courageous, and I have taken a lot of decisions spontaneously. And we talk about data-driven and a gut feeling. So if you look and do analysis, it appears to many that I take decision out of gut, but that also has some facts behind this. Proactive, that's what I would like to stay. It's not. If you ask my family, I'm a very reactive person. Persistence, I mean, that also, like the way I see that I try to do those things, visualizing and trying to be around it all the time. Experimentative, I feel this is where I learn so much about doing experiments in the organization when others were still following the traditional ways of managing. Bold, yes, I mean, I'm standing here, like you may sound like appearing like a duck on the water. It so look calm, but inside, if you look, the legs are faster than it really moves. That's where I'm now standing. You don't see my legs anyway. Some creative, I do think a lot during my walks or during my spare time or watching TV, where family feels that I'm watching TV, but basically I'm trying to constantly think around how can I do, or better, how can I be better version of myself when I work. Dumb, I mean, they said the intelligence have self-doubts, dumb has none. Most of the time when there is opportunity, most of the intelligent people wants to know everything before they raise their hand. And I'm very much dumb. I just raise the hand and then ask what is the task. And then you fail, but then you fail fast. But then you learn quickly too. And I'm not afraid of failure because I'm not in competition of anyone. I've learned that very, very early. You need to just try to be better version of yourself when you work around. Risk taking. This is one risk I took today. I mean, getting out of my escape comfort zone to unknown audience of entrepreneurs. You know, you are a businessman, I am an employee somewhere. So it's still a risk. I mean, how do we communicate and do question answers? I don't know. Purposeful, and that's very important for me. Everything has to be with some purpose. Otherwise, you lose a track. So many times I ask people, how do you want to deal with your business? And many people say that I want to make my business from 100 crores to 1,000 crores in 2030. I hope many of you have that kind of a goal. But what is the purpose? I mean, then what? And then people struggle. As we expand our vision more than our business, we try to see things very differently. And then the purpose takes us there. And I have a passion for cricket, and many of us are, but I really see cricket from a very different angle. Not the way it is played, or not following India as such, but cricket as a game as such. And that taught me a lot. Professional learning, I mean, as I said, when you are not that educated, you don't have the management degrees or engineering degrees, and then you want to work your way out, then you need to actually start also being relevant all the time. So I'm a certified Six Sigma black belt. So I mean, many of you know these tools, Six Sigma, and I was never good at mathematics. I was not aware what statistics, but I did reasonably okay and became certified Six Sigma, and I was teaching in SK. Global business factory, when we have factories in different areas of the world, you must know, aware of different culture, the land, law of the land you must know, but also how to inspire people when you work with them. Business excellence, I mean, it's totally process driven. We will talk on that if there are certain questions. Quality academy, so there are various courses in that academy of quality. Not alone a product quality, but also the service quality. Group leadership, I mean, all the top talent goes through. There are 10 people every year SCF decides to develop as the future global leaders. And I was fortunate and lucky one to get that. And also in Sweden, there is a Nova executive firm which is part of SCF Group owners, Wallenberg. So all companies, Sandvik, Alfa Laval, Atlas Copco, Hoganas, Tetra Pak, SCF, and so many, H&M and so many, where Wallenberg has invested their money, and that's the executive firm which I work with. For me, I mean, we all are in a world of technology. And of course, we need to be relevant and embrace technology. But end of the day, the true change comes out of people. So people, I do believe, are a key differentiator here. Another aspect, I mean, again, a purpose setting. Why I work for SCF? There are two reasons. One is what Rajesh shared. All the money and all the bills were paid by SCF, and that made me state, and I want to give SCF my life, which I am doing. But end of the day, the purpose of organization, which I am really following, the wealth of an organization is really meaningless if it is not helping its people, its society, and its environment to grow. Why do I earn money? It has to help people around me, in businesses. It has to help environment. I mean, we all have businesses in many areas of the city or state. But you see how the environment around us, so it's so sometimes frustrating to see the environment getting into a wrong direction. But also society, what kind of a society we want to build. And I do believe, and I'm not a politician and don't follow any political party as such, since I now live in Sweden, but end of the day, the lot of hope, I do believe, is with many corporates and many entrepreneurs like you. We can really change the society and those habits for sure. So that's my overall, who I am as a person. If you go to next slide. And then my journey, the title which is most attractive is a Chief Fund Officer and not Chief Finance Officer. This was given to me in 2010 by SCF India Managing Director then. He saw that people are working a lot. They are not humorous, not smiling. Their face is longer than their body. And he gave me this job. And I thought, what a job this is. I am a good quality Six Sigma guy. Am I not performing? So I went to my boss and said, am I not performing? Why this Chief Fund Officer? And they said, yeah, we took a decision in the management team that you will lead this journey. And then it became a serious job for me, but everyone was having a lot of fun. And we really created a cultural change. And then, I mean, in open forum, how many times people will ask question when India as a management style is so bureaucratic? Who will challenge the managing director? And we created that. We challenged them on food, on salary, on parking space, and hundreds of things. But that really changed escape in India for us. But then all the roles which I had basically from 1988 to 2016 was as a linear growth one can have in the career if you work for organization, a long and a bit better average plus performance, you can have that. But I was destined when there was a crisis in Sweden, which is our parent company, our headquarters. I call it a mother factory. They had a crisis and they sacked everyone there. They wanted a big change because, you know, a factory under your corporate office knows if not performing, how China, India, America, and Europe will look at leadership. So they wanted someone who can bring things together. I still don't know why they selected me, but it worked. So I was the lucky one out of that crisis. But we did a good job. And there I have a story to tell about how union cooperated. So very different way of managing union. That's my journey. I was hired as a plant head of Gothenburg. I mean, that plant that time was 10,000 crore, if I want to put in Indian context, and was a leading plant in Escape Group. But then I also became the first managing director for Escape Sweden, first non-Swedish, non-European Indian person, which never happened in 105 years of history. Yeah. Now I would like to have a bit of a paradigm shift in the thinking. You are applauding being an Indian getting selected there. But that's not my story actually. That's not what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you of a corporate who thinks other way. And they selected me and gave that position among all the probably opposition and doubts people have. Even I was not, even today I don't speak Swedish. So it's a courage of organization to find talent in the diverse environment and allow things to happen. That's the story here. So don't listen to him as my story as I am managing director here. From there, I was made entire Europe's operation head. That means around 23 to 25 plants. And if SKF is a 100 billion SEK company, now I'll lose because we don't talk in dollars and neither in euro. So 100 billion SEK into 10 comes Indian money. So that's just an average thing. But that part is supplying 60% of SKF global business happens through that part. So it's a huge responsibility was put up. And at the same time, Europe was in a war zone. Ukraine, Russia, energy crisis, COVID, Suez Canal, the conflict with China, and so many challenges. And we want to do this transformation, which I would again say that we could do in a very good way, while protecting our margins, while protecting our people in a good way. We managed that journey together. And then I was made directors. All my life I worked in operations, so I know how to make bearings, plant, machine, operation people, unions. Was my forte, supply chain, logistic, purchasing, other things. But then I was asked to lead the heavy industries, and heavy industries means metals, mining, pulp and paper, cement, construction, defense, railway, all big products, wind, where you know the windmills. And those industry and factories which are part of those industry. But that was for 6 months when I was quite inclined, and it was quite a good learning curve for me. So from 1st of January, I took the role of a sales director for Central and Eastern Europe, which is around 30,000 crore business for us. But first time in my selling thing. So I feel very relevant to be here, very relevant to be connected, so I can learn and scratch some of your head. I don't have experiences on doing negotiations with external environment. Probably that will not be my job, but most of the building strategic partnerships. But I have no clue how I will do this. I only have this stupid, dumb confidence that I probably will do this. As I said, I rely on my people, so I ask their help. Help me. And while I help you, the help comes out of a lot of more questions from my side. So don't get frustrated that I'm not using my positional power, but I want to ask questions, because end of the day, we all need to deliver something out of it. So that's the role, because someone has put up that trust on me. Someone has put up that responsibility on me. So I need to be very humble and start my steep learning curve as soon as possible. I'm already 1 week delay here. I was supposed to go back last week, but I'm going on Thursday. So this is my journey. But the next slide will be very important for you when many of you have ambition to supply other parts of the world. And when we look at China or India, we often see the competitive advantage, right? We talk about, but truly, is it a competitive advantage or a cost abuse? I don't know the answer. I mean, you will decide, because I will tell you how Sweden works, and that's why I said a cost abuse and a cost mature society. There are different ways of looking into this, and then it's all up to you to reflect upon and choose the right ones you feel comfortable with. So if you skip this and go back to the next slide, and we come back it again, because this is very interesting, and I would like to give more time on question and answer. No, the next one. Yeah, this one. Now I would like to ask a question. This is what I learned in Sweden. Sweden, new beginning and a transformation as a country. It's a country of a 10 million, one of the wealthiest country. Not because they have less population. That's their weakness. And they still prosper. Most of the innovation comes out of that country. Now, time is valued in Sweden. How many of you think that time is valued in India? Yes, I choose the right one, right? That's why I'm here. We started at 7-7. So, but how many of you believe? Now I'm talking about a country, right? So you compare our country. You don't need to complete outlier. Chrysalis is outlier. Yeah, thank you. Discipline. How many of you feel that we are a very disciplined society? You can say yes, I will not defend anything. If you feel yes, yes, it is discipline. Because I mean it is just for you to reflect. Inclusive. How many of us are inclusive in our family, in our personal life, in our professional life? Innovation. What kind of innovation we bring? Is world really looking at us as an innovative country, or a country which can offer them a cheap or competitive product? Equality, gender equality, cultural. I mean, there are many equalities we can talk about. How many? I mean, how many females are here? Just raise the hand. How many females are here? And then percentage wise, 2. Right? Consensus building. I mean, when the hierarchical organization is working, the decision comes from the top. No matter however idiot he or she, the boss, is, they tend to make everyone understand that they are always right. Sweden is not, I cannot use my positional power to give my decision. It needs to be consensus, it needs to be discussed, it needs to be understood, it needs to be clarified, and then you take those decisions. Sustainability. I mean, the environment, the CO2 emission, decarbonization, fossil free, gas, how we treat all the waste out of our plant. Do we have a plan to make our plant green? That's Sweden is leading. And there is a word called lagom, which is very much part of our spirituality. So they said, always stay in the Sweden, if in the center. If you are excited, don't be shouting and dancing a lot. But if you are too sad, also don't show. Be at the center. And that's what our spirituality is. Be under control of your own emotions all the time. That's what Sweden is. So the culture, way of working in Sweden is no hierarchy. I mean, if you see people walking, you will not know that they are one of the top CEOs of the world. You will not know them. It's very difficult to find. If people are eating, who is the boss here? It's very difficult. Even you are sitting with a union leader and you ask them, can you help me to find out a boss? It's very difficult. That's hierarchy. May not be the best decision, but the most agreed decision goes forward because it has a huge longevity to be successful. And then they can make it best on the way. But then everyone accepts quickly. Respect for what you do and not what your position, title. No one cares titles. So you need to contribute, and then you are valued. Team-based and discussion-oriented. No single person is, standing out is not the culture. With a group is a culture. And coaching and mentoring. So they will try to coach and mentor, not instruct and direct. That's a culture. I think I have just summarized this Sweden learning, and I thought that I'm going there to change Sweden or I'm escape Sweden. But I can tell you at some point of time, whenever I'm back, I probably have more to give and bring from there rather than what I have given to them. So wonderful society, wonderful experience. And also, how many of we will accept if you have a Chinese owner tomorrow in your factory or in your organization? They have accepted me. That shows that they are really diverse in their approach. And then you go back, probably those slides we keep more open, and I will share my stories around that. So where SK Pune, where I grew up, 1988, 17 August 1988, 700 rupees salary was okay. Then too. And it was my practice ground, learning ground, and also mistake ground. So as I said, we were all immature. Earning money was the prime focus. We have a job and so we will work now. So no one was there to teach us, but the culture was so accommodative. So our mistakes were were accepted in a way, but we were nurtured very good. So I would call it a foundation blocks for a professional journey. And then in 2010, when I was asked to go to Ahmedabad, which we built one factory for specifically for wind, but in 2010, you know, the global market collapsed, Goldman Sachs and wind market also collapsed, and we built it for one customer. It was collapsed, and I was asked to go and lead that factory. And I was asked in first meeting, go and sack everyone. That was the instruction given to me. And Ahmedabad, you know, it's a very hot place. And going out of Pune, everyone say, am I stupid, leaving Pune, taking kids and family. But then I understood that if that factory is so bad, I won't make it further bad. It will only go up. That is one. And I told my boss, don't give me this instruction. Because my belief is we change people. If not, we change people. And our people are the reflection of our management. So whom do we blame? I mean, it's very easy to sack people, right? You have a positional power and you can sack them. But how do you build a team out of that? So that's another wonderful journey we took. But that place taught me a lot, strong people power. We had no canteen. The food was coming out of one jungle. We built our canteen. We had no money to paint the plant. We paint by our own people. We had an agriculture land. We grew our foods and feed ourselves. We wanted to go and get customers. We were doing that because I was asked after 2 years to close this plant. And I say, you hired me to make this plant work. Then I'm not the right person. But if you give me 1 year, we will come back on that. And then the kind manager said, okay, and you know the permanent marker, he wrote on a wall and said, I come next year, exactly after 1 year, and I want this number to be achieved. If not, you will close the plant. And you know, when he said that in front of management team, what kind of a situation you are facing. 176 people then, not much, now they have 600 people. And I said to my people, you know, you have all the possibilities and options to go out and find a job and continue while you find a job. But if you all commit, we will turn this around. And everyone, not a single person said, we want to leave the job. They stayed. That's where I learned the people power. The average salary was not much. And they took a 30% salary cut by themselves. They said that we will visit customer and bring customers back to us. The knowledge, they spend 12 hours and 13 hours in the factory. Whenever we want to travel, in SCEF is a cash-rich company. We travel always by flights and other things. These people travel 19 hours and 12 hours in all parts of the world by bus. But we got business. We built that factory. And we had a dream that all my operators should bring and come in the factory with their own car. And till date, I get calls that everyone is, when they get a car, they call me. It's quite a good experience there. A hardship, but I learn a lot of people power, how much power we have in our people if we provide them a right leadership. Escape Group has a very strong policy. You must have union in all the factories. I mean, this will sound crazy to many of you. As soon as the union gets formed, you will get scared. But Escape, and that is the only factory, even today, doesn't have union. So Escape thought that probably we are doing some threatening to our own people. So they did a secret study. They sent a kind of a committee to investigate. And they sat me in my office and I said, but you go and ask questions to people. And they went and asked people, and people said, but we have our union. And they say, who is your union leader? Can we talk to him? And I say, our factory manager is our union leader. And they say, can you explain? They said, yeah, because we have all the information. We decide what food to eat in the canteen. We decide our salary based on the survey we do. And our aim is to have average plus salary. Not the best one, but not the worst one. Average plus. And people are aware of it. They decide the bus route by themselves. So when you have given power to your people, what kind of a union you want? I was the best union leader then, or my management team. And we have, every day when we work, we had a happiness index measuring how did you feel today. So that's the story. And someone silently, when you feel that no one is watching, someone watches you all the time. So this story became a bit famous in Escape, and I was hired to lead Gothenburg factory, which has never happened. And that's why I give a lot of credit to my Ahmedabad journey because, as I said, learning and foundation, but there I really understood the power of people and I took that. And then you go to Sweden. And there, if you want to hire anyone out of Sweden, you are normally interviewed by the unions, and we have 4 unions. The union sits in the escape group board. That means any given point of time, they have all the information that what I have, because I don't sit in escape groups board. And they said, what the hell, who are you? That was their first question. And I said, I'm a mother of escape. I'm a child of escape factory in Gothenburg. Someone told me my mother is sick. Will you allow me to work for my mother? Because I grew up looking at escape Sweden as our mother. And that was quite new to them. And they said, what you will bring? And I said, I don't know, but you will teach me. We can absolutely co-create. So can you help me that? And Sweden's national dish is meatball. And we are a land of curries. We love curries in everything. And I said, have you tried meatball curry? They said, no. And I made meatball curry after 3 weeks. That tastes good. I said, then we can work. And I said, allow me to experiment. And they said, but probably you are there to close our plant and take technology to India. After China, escape wants India to grow. So you will do this. I said, no, that's not the job. I got a very clear thing to change Gothenburg. If you don't change, that might be consequences, but I don't have to drive that. That is just a consequences. So allow me to experiment. And I came, that time I was in Ahmedabad, a land of Mahatma Gandhi. And you know Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, My Experiments with Truth. I carried 5 books, I gave it to them. And I said, let's experiment. And what a coincidence, the union leader, who is EF Metal chairman also, he gave me one book immediately. It was not planned. And the name of the book was Speed of Trust. That is Stephen Covey's son who wrote that. Imagine what he was trying to tell me. I said, allow me to experiment. And he said, you should bring your trust and we will help you. And that's a wonderful journey we take. And I normally, that union guy is asked to go anywhere in Sweden and Europe, and he tells this story, and he tells Gothenburg transformation story. We were the worst plant in the group. In 18 months, we became the top 3 plants in the escape group because they worked. And sometimes the engineers' minds works very differently. I said I want to meet all the 2,000 people of escape. And the PX, or we call it HR, they made a plan for me to meet people. And what was the plan? Since people work in shift, the plan came to me as if that it will take me 3.5 months to meet all the 2,000 people. Because when they come in first shift, then I will have that many sessions. But so stupid. I said, but I can go to shifts, their shifts. And we covered it in 12 days, all the 2,000 people. I mean, sometimes we need to trick your mind, right? And that journey began when I got Europe operations. I called all the European unions, not EU, Europe, or European Union, UN, but basically the all escape operations union together. And everyone criticized me. I say, you know, the French unions are different than German, the Italian ones are, and you will face the challenge. And I said, no, why do I face a challenge when we want to build trust together? And that journey is wonderful, and we reaped so much benefit of that, where there is a huge trust we gain with each other. So that's the journey a little bit, but I would explore more out of our questions and answers and allow Mr. MG sir to get here. I feel very alone without him here. So let's take the next step. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You can please be seated. Thank you so much.
Okay, namaste everybody. I was sitting there listening to Ajay, and since I've heard him, when I was there in Sweden, I've met him a few times, and a bag full of stories. And as he was speaking and sharing, I knew that there's a story behind every sharing of his, which he could not. Maybe we will dig some stories out here, but wo abhi bhi jo unhone share kiya, I'm just allowing it to sink inside because it's so deep, and especially the experience or his time which he has had with the union. तो जो हम लोग सोचते हैं ना यूनियन यहाँ क्या है और यूनियन जो वहाँ पर है, because I met the union leader there in Sweden, and he is one powerful man. So when we say union leader जो है वो board में बैठ रहा है of SKF, And even in the government, in politics, he's a known figure. That's what I
Yes,
believe.
yes.
And he shared a few stories about that. So we'll come on to that. But my, first of all, Ajay, it's not Mr. MG. It is not MGG. It is MG. And in person, जब हम साथ मिलते हैं अकेले होते हैं तो he calls me MG. वो तुम लोग के चक्कर में वो and Rajesh को तो वो he has been listening to Rajesh and Rajesh always out of his love for me. पिछले जन्म में हमारा कोई relationship रहा होगा. I don't know who was the girl, but हमारा relationship रहा. And is that love which makes him say MG sir to me. So I've told him a number of times, Ajay, I'm MG, MG. Any G, any respect is already an MG. So I'm MG for you. And it was, I think, somewhere post-COVID when Rajesh ne pehli baar Ajay se introduction karaya, and we had an online, session from his side. He was in Sweden and we were here, and we had a wonderful time listening to him. And then it happened that uske baad Ajay happened to be in India, and we met. And वो ऐसा करके बात हुई, and I think once Rajesh mentioned that, in fact, the thing which we both have in common is exploration. So we both explore a lot in terms of exploring opportunities to contribute in ways which are very different. And I saw him exploring the possibilities of how contribution can be made in Sweden from his side, maybe through me. I was looking for contribution to be made through him to the fraternity here, and that's how this entire thought of going to Sweden came up. And they have a wonderful place in Sweden where they have an island, and the island has some facilities, and we said let's explore. So maybe explore करने गया, मैंने कहा चलो एहसास का देखते हैं if there's a possibility of doing एहसास there, cycling around. And he also thought maybe there's a possibility of getting some entrepreneurs there, make them see some great facilities, and see how things are done, how the culture of Sweden is. He wants to give back to India in his own way. That can we become like that slide जो था ना वो right from the वो पहले वाले में हम clean bold हो गए value of time. तो आगे वाले में तो पढ़ना ही बेकार है, मतलब discipline वहाँ तो लास्ट में तो पहुँचे नहीं public. तो पहले में clean bold थे. So but Rajesh says कि in Chrysalis, never in the history of our life, Ajay, मैं हल्का सा brag करता हूँ अपने बारे में कि हम लोग जो हैं जितने भी यहाँ तो I want to brag about all of us here that never in the history of CEF we have started a minute late. Am I right or not? Yeah. Never in the history. और इनका जब मैं गया तो you can clap for it, हमारी बारी होती है. तो जब मैं गया इनके यहाँ तो वहाँ स्वीडन में कल्चर है. So if a guest is to come to your place and if the timing is 8 o'clock, the guest will come at 8 o'clock. वो ऐसा नहीं कि 7:30 पे आ जाएगा या फिर वो 8:15 पे आ जाएगा. So वो 8 o'clock वो बाहर रुक जाएगा अपनी गाड़ी में, and he will wait for 8 o'clock. That's how it is. You want to share a bit on that?
Absolutely. I mean, time is so valued. And when I go from India, and you book the meeting 8 to 9, 9 to 10, 10 to 11, right? It is designed for failure when someone book the meeting like that, because it's so difficult to stop meeting at 9 start, because we have so many different conferences, and then you want to meet in person, and then I realize, and then I check Swedish calendars how they operate. They have 5 minutes gap, so 8 to 8:55. So 1 minute for picking up a coffee, going to the conference, and little bit of taking notes, something. And I learned that. I mean, if you are late by 30 seconds, probably you will be little bit accepted. But more than 30 seconds, and in a second meeting, you will, and it doesn't need to be, I mean, forget about your boss, your operator will also tell. Can you be on time, Ajay? And I many times I have. Even though I said, I have this terrible problem with time, help me on that. But they made me follow time very well. I would share one more example of also hierarchy, how the hierarchy is not there. When I was hired there, the CEO took the decision, and he was running the plant along with his colleagues, because we were a lot of failures in the market. And he was very angry because of the situation it caused. So very, very vocal. And we were walking, and he was talking to people on the shop floor where people were sitting like this, and he was standing and talking to them. And one operator raised the hand and he said, "You were talking, but who are you?" And he is the CEO of SKF, an operator he didn't know. And then he realized The beauty is the operator could ask him directly, but the beauty of a CEO is he said to me, I said, what you speak in Swedish? He said, who I am. And I was thinking that I am communicating so much. I am on Spider, I am on intranet, I am on magazines. And just below my nose, if my managers are not communicating what I'm communicating, what a poor leadership I have created here. So thank God now you are here, you have more responsibility. So that's also a sign of a great leadership when he accepted that someone challenged me, who are you? Imagine in our culture if you said, boss, who are you? It will be already taken as arrogant and then person has a pink slip immediately. Just to share you the story, how culture is.
Right. And of course, then there are a lot more things which we can learn about how Swedish people, they conduct themselves. But coming on, you have this mantra which you have spoken time and again during our conversations, fail fast, right? And how has that played a role in your journey in the last 30 odd years with SKF, and how you have been able to use it to move up the ladder?
Absolutely. I mean, the organization works at its best when there is a safety network, psychological safety. And that comes out of a trust and backing. So there was an example. When we had an expensive machine on the floor and we were setting up in Ahmedabad, some new customer, big 2.8 meters bearing, the operator by mistake did some damage. The cost of the raw material itself is in millions, and he was damn scared. And I was informed. And of course, you feel so annoyed. We were loss maker unit. We were not making money, and someone else. And the operator was already nervous. He knew his job will go. And I went and said that, "Beta, machine टूटा है, तू टूटा है क्या?" Sir, मैं बहुत nervous हूँ. ऐसे 2 बार भी हो जाए ना, I will stand by you. But अगर तू सीखा है और तूने सीखा है, so आप खड़ा रहो. हम मशीन ऐसे 1000 बार ये सब कोशिश करते रहेंगे. That trust in the operator made him do so much great job for us. He's now one of our best engineers. So he grew from operator to engineer now on that same channel. So when something already happened, what can you do with it? You can make a misery out of it, or you can basically turn this to your favors. And this story goes multiple, I mean, it gets discussed on shop floor. And what kind of a culture you bring. I said, those who will bring quality defects, we will reward those. Because people in our culture are afraid of showing that we have made a mistake. But then it's so expensive when it goes to customer. That's so expensive. So we need to have that rewarding defect also as a culture. Fail fast is also, I mean, we all fail every day. I can tell you, I mean, 4 or 6 out of 10 of my decision, I need to modify it. We have a common sense in place, so we don't do stupendous mistakes, but that allows us to experiment quickly. So people take so much time and they have 1,000 questions before they do anything. We lose the essence of time. So my request to my team is fail fast, and I stand by you, because no one cares, no one understands even we failed. It's just within us, right? It's just you know and I know we failed, but no one knows. So that really helps to build a culture where people are ready to take those small risks. Secondly, they start taking decision. How many times the decision making you keep with you occupies you tremendously? Our job is allow others to take decision. Empowerment is a word used in any corporates, but how many times for a travel request or a simple pen gets to the manager for approval? Such a stupid thing we are doing. We are not leveraging people's brains. We almost assume that we have hired people for their hands and legs and not for their brain. Our job is to empower them, and that's why I coined this term fail fast, because then you are allowing people to do their own way also. But then also you need to put up a control on documentation so we don't do the mistake. But that is a smart thing you apply afterwards. But allow people to take the actions first.
Great. See, when it comes to, he was talking in relation to his son also, that how things he has picked up from him, and he's coming into this entrepreneurial journey, and how his recommendation to him would be that he should not be scared of failing and fail fast. I think that's where we have been brought up in a way where we are scared of failing. And I think that's so wonderful to have this kind of a culture and a boss who supports this. So when you on a journey from India to Sweden, from Ahmedabad, from Pune, we have a culture here. We have all said and done, it's an SKF family, but then it's an Indian culture here, the way we function, the way we manufacture, the way we are on the shop floor. How was it different there on the shop floor in Sweden? And how did you manage to cope up with that?
The first reaction of the shop floor is, here comes one Indian bureaucratic guy now. Now he will try to fix things and probably give us a lot of instruction and directive. So shop floor was really scared. My immediate management staff was double scared, because they thought now, all the change management in corporates, it starts with changing the leadership teams. Then it starts changing so many things. And that's how the corporate buys time. Yeah, and no one reflects on their own mistake. So my management team was not even talking to me, because they were so afraid. They don't know me. I don't speak their language. First 3 days, I was without food, because I didn't know where is the canteen. And one day, one guy from finance came and knocked my door and said, I see, Ajay, you are not eating. I said, no, actually, I am very hungry. I want to eat, but I don't know the canteen. So he took me to the canteen. Now in corporates, in India, most of the big corporates provide food to their employees. Sweden, nothing comes free. So I had my food and I thought it's free. So I just walked away and lady come. Hello. She was not aware of my name. And then said, you didn't pay. I say, why do I pay? But you had food. I say, so what? No, it's not free. I say, how come? And then the guy next to me said, no, Ajay, here it's not, probably in your country you pay. You realize that, you start valuing. Huh? You don't abuse things, you start valuing. From there, then you go to shop floor. They were damn scared. So normally, when you want to get results, you start going through the P&L, the cost levels, the profitability, the productivity, efficiencies, and all those things. And I said, I want to talk to each and every person, as I said, but every washroom break, I change my route to shop floor. So every time I have to drink water or go to washroom, I was always walking through shop floor and picked up the last washroom. So I was using their washroom. And then on my walking path, I used to ask them, how are you today? And normally great sun, because sunlight is talked a lot. So that's a good way of, and then I said, work safe. I never say improve, produce, work safe. They have been listening to cost challenges all their life. And they said, I come to work, I produce the same. Where the cost is coming from? Not from me. Can you explain me? So we never use that dialogue. For example, engineering team came and said that, Ajay, this machine should produce 10 pieces per hour, but they are producing 8 pieces. But actually, I know we can produce 10 pieces. Okay, but if you go to operators and take this language, it's directly a threat to them. They don't believe, because they do this job so much repetitively. So I said, let's bring the customer perspective. I said, we have a market orders and we have service failures. How can you help me to make this zero? Then they were producing 11 pieces. Even engineering was not knowing. They produced 12 pieces. Because I never talked about counting those, directly making them under the cycle time discussion. We said that, how can we make this? Customers are crying, these are the mail, this is service level, this is what sales are talking. So when you start doing that, on my Saturday, Sunday, when Swedish culture is not to go to office, I carried pizzas. I carried and said, I came, I get bored here, I have no friends here. So I came to meet you and I have pizza. I'm not here watching you. So slowly we change people's and gain the trust. And then you don't need to talk the productivity language. People take charge of the productivity. So there are hundreds of experiments we did. They don't like to celebrate birthday. In our culture, birthday celebration, the birthday boy, birthday girl, they are happy, everyone wants to feel, everyone management also feel, wow, what a great manager I am celebrating my employee's birthday. Right? So you take all those prides by doing those small things. They don't like. They said, no, I don't want to celebrate my birthday. How do you engage them? I said, okay, but is it okay I put up your name? No, we don't want it. Don't put on the name on the screen. Okay. So then we said, now this won't work. I said, when you walk on the channel and talk to operator, hey, what did you celebrate today or yesterday? Nothing. But why? I mean, what to celebrate? I said, but something must have happened. Yesterday was no accident. Yesterday the floor is clean, much cleaner than today. You did some good job here. Yeah, we do this. So let's celebrate. And we started those close circles. So slowly, from a very individualistic society, I was trying to bring Indianness of family orientation. And that got, after a while, a huge success. And that's where we launched Kaizen's improvement journey. So taking your operations people on a continuous improvement, then as doing a management job to solve their problems, and then bringing great investment makes their life easy. So all our focus was making their life easy, and then they did well, so much for us. So it was kind of a learning experience for me more than then. Because I don't see there is a resistance to change if it is not explained well. And our ability as a management to change situations, so our efforts has to be more than people's resistance to change. Then the real change happens. Many times we say we tried, it didn't work. The question is, we didn't try enough. We didn't brainstorm enough. We didn't create enough alternatives. And it's a leadership job to feel accountable, to change situation, not blaming. Blaming is very easy. And we will talk on that. Remind me about some things which I would really like to tell.
I'm sure everything must not have been rosy for you.
No.
So some areas where you could not bring out results the way you wanted. How did you cope with that?
Yes, I mean, we failed on that journey many times. And that's where we try to, since I wanted to buy time even on my failures, I coined this term fail fast too, to be convenient to me. There were incidences where there was a customer complaint from Scania, a big truck manufacturer in Sweden, and it came out of Pune factory plant. So Gothenburg has no relation to that. But the products, if you want to move from Scania back to India and re-inspect and bring back, it's an expensive thing. So Indian people sent their operators and they said, Ajay, can you check that? You bring it to Gothenburg and check it. So they sent 3 people, they checked the bearings and went back. And I was telling people, like, look, they did such a great job. They finished their work. They're working 12 hours a day. And union saw this very other way around. First, it's a law which we broke. You can't bring labors from somewhere without any approvals in the system. And they put a fine on 1 million SEK on management. The salesperson who initiated this, we gave her a warning and she was moved within 3 months. All of a sudden I learned that kind of a situation that sometimes you think that you are solving the problem, but we created a lot of more problem. When many of our customers absolutely lost trust with us when we were not able to supply the products, and we were also short of then capacity or a cycle time, there was no room to improve productivity. That was a huge failure. So I have to go every week to the top management and explain things. And then we created a concept called support production. I said, why do you want to make things out of here? We can ask our other factories in globe to support, because solving, and then you have to go back to union and say that, allow that to happen. But unions are very scared. If it goes to China, then it becomes China all the time. We will not have that business back. And creating that trust and creating a system was initially a huge fighting situation, but we managed well because we were transparent, exactly explaining what we are trying to do and get them early on the board. So many failures, I would say. I mean, it's very good to talk success, but it builds on many failures.
As SME entrepreneurs here, from your experience of a multinational company with huge experience of handling team, around 50,000 people are there whom you're responsible for. How can you simplify productivity or multiplying productivity for them? So we normally have our own ways of KPIs, and we kind of measure productivity through KPIs. So what kind of KPIs or what kind of shop floor activities or business activities they have to keep in mind?
I mean, any operation operates to certain KPIs, key performance indicators. And in operations, what normally we try to focus first and foremost is a cost level. So our cost of operation is say 100, which we committed to our sales colleagues. Anything below that is gain to operation. Anything on 100, sales are happy. Anything above 100, which comes a cost to us, but also loss of profitability, because sales is already committing to sell at XYZ price. That is one we do. We look into productivity. That means every year, whatever we produce becomes 0 or 100. And then we need to improve our productivity by 5%. So that's one KPI we follow. We also follow the leading and lagging KPIs. There are many KPIs which influence the upper KPI, like resetting time of the channel, the quick changeover, SMED, or you may be trying out. That we also look at. We look at cost of carrying inventory, net working capital, because most of the time, a big organization or a small organization can come under pressure because market's volatility is about cash management. And you probably know much more than I do. The cash is king or queen. We don't want to be gender biased here. So cash is queen. And that needs to be managed first, then profitability, not other way around. If you don't have a liquid flowing, you can get stuck up. Many organizations failed to manage that. That we manage. The most important customer aspect we manage is our service, our reliability towards customer. So we do measure two parameters. One is availability failures and other is reliability failure. So if I tell you that I will give you on Friday 22nd, it needs to be Friday 22nd. That's reliability. And service availability failure is that at any given point of time, the product needs to be available. If the order lines are failed on that day, even we ship next day, it's still a failure of that day. That's we manage. This is how operation or manufacturing operates. But working through industries, what we don't actually, or we need to learn more is about end-to-end value chain. I mean, if I only follow my KPIs of operation, and even it looks great, but on a customer level or a sales level, if you are failing for any other reasons, since there is a no relevant shake on the market, we can also collapse as an organization. So I have these 4 KPIs, which I would like you to reflect upon. One is CNPS, that is Customer Net Promoter Score. You define your own measurement, but you must have a matrix to measure your customer satisfaction. Must have. Second is your key asset, your talent or your people. They are the differentiator. One is ENPS, Employee Net Promoter Score. You must have that. Your employees are your strength. You must make them your assets. Third is SNPS, that is sustainability. If it is not contributing your product, I mean, you may make a great product, but you are sending your oils to the drain, and then it goes into civic society. You saw in some city there was some water leakage, bad water leakage. That also needs to measure, or your carbon footprint needs to measure. The future opportunities will come out of that. And again, the S is for stakeholders or shareholders value creation. They put money into your organization. They don't put because bank can give them 6, 7, 8% return, but they put because to get a more return. and you need to take care of their wealth. They put their hard-earned money into your organization, and there is a factor within that when you call return on capital employed. I mean, you put a lot of inventory, you put a lot of assets, you put human assets, and you need to know how much the return I am getting on that. That makes us a bit more purposeful organization rather than just managing the P&L, because then you can oversight many of the things. That I would say.
Great. I think we have a few questions from the audience, but before that, एक हल्का सा googly आपके लिए. So I have a rapid fire for you. And rapid fire is I got a few questions. You have to answer in one word or a sentence. And बिल्कुल आप सोचना मत, जो आएगा, जो भी आपका माधुरी दीक्षित, जो भी मन में आएगा आप नाम बोल देना. तो नहीं, मैंने इसलिए बोला because you might have some old. चलिए. And it's one line answers or one sentence answers from your side. A leadership belief you had to unlearn.
The hierarchy or the power position solves many problems.
One emotion leaders hide too well.
Basically, vulnerability.
Control or trust? Which failed you first? Control or trust? Which failed you first?
Control.
A compliment that stayed with you.
I need to tell a bit more. When we closed one factory, you can imagine, when I was announcing, I was crying. One factory we closed in Europe. And after a while, I got a letter from those, and they said that even you close the factory, the human aspect you delivered out of this process, we are forever thankful to you. And I will probably share again some more on that. But it stayed with me that when we closed, we still took care of our people.
A criticism that changed you.
Many. I mean, there were many criticism. I mean, one of the criticism I was that I'm not a technical guy. Then the compounder became a doctor after a while by learning, having great friends around. That is one. I lack patience sometimes, and I don't listen enough. That criticism, I'm still learning on that.
हाँ, बिल्कुल. हाँ.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I manage things through my talks. That actually hurt me the most, because I was silently climbing on many efforts I was putting hard. But it was always that I talk well, so I succeed well.
One habit you protect fiercely.
Being very close to people.
One habit you wish you would have killed earlier. You would have left earlier. One habit.
I mean, impatience.
Growth exposes character or does it create it? Growth exposes character or does it create a character?
Both way. I mean, it can expose you if your growth doesn't have purpose, or it can create characters which are really passionate on the higher purpose.
Power reveals or corrupts?
Power can reveal. That's what I want to believe, because then we create great leaders out of it. If it is corrupts, then where do we look for?
Leadership, it's a privilege or a burden?
Privilege. Serving people.
Got a 10 out of 10. Okay. The floor is open for Q&A. That's well done. Anji, chaliye, we have questions from the audience. We have Sapna there.
There is a female.
Anji, हाँ.
Let's take that first.
Chalo.
Good evening.
Yeah. Myself, Sapna Rathi. My company's name is Windsor Shelter. We are into the construction. So my question is, like, what are the top 3 systems that separate high profit organization from an average organization?
High profit, and so you are talking about a system. I mean, it's
Yes.
a tricky one, but I try to answer this as it comes in my mind as I'm speaking. Uh, I mean, most of the organizations struggle on achieving pricing excellence. It's very difficult because we price out of a cost stack up and not the value creation. So, I mean, value creation system, if you have, and commercial excellence, I call, you have more chance. Then another profit part is reflecting on your process, depends on size of organization, on quarterly or 6 monthly or yearly basis. Because when we are on a growth path, we actually tend to create more waste, because that profitability which is attracting us makes us do a lot of shortcuts. So always have a lean thinking on that. That I would surely recommend. And also, your growth comes not out of your efforts, but the trust out of your customers. Make sure that your front processes towards your customer are well settled, well structured, and it addresses the customer need, not what you think is right.
Thank you so much.
Lovely. हस्बैंड वाइफ ऐसा क्या कॉम्बिनेशन है, उधर से वाइफ और उधर से हस्बैंड. चलो माइक आगे पीछे.
Namaste. As it's proved, you are the doctor from the mechanical field. So during all your operations, I just want to know what is the blind spots that normally leaders missed when they are trying to scale their operations or business. What is the blind spots?
I mean, everyone wants to grow and scale the operation, right? What we don't do enough is, basically there are two things. We need to pause before we take the action. Secondly, we need to cultivate a habit of reflections. How do you reflect on the situation? Because if there are sudden growths, that can catch you in a wrong direction too. So it needs to be in line with your strategic objective. Many of the organizations grow just because someone else is doing some good job. We need to have our vision, mission, and strategy very clear. So we remain focused. What we say, less is more. Most of us in our culture are taught more is really more. And when I say less, it's not really less. It is about having focus. What is the purpose of your organization? Because you will get attracted for all the opportunity. As soon as you have a cash flow, you want to divest. Because we all are psychologically unsafe, having one will in our. So you need to be very, very assured. Secondly, be sure that do you really have the temporary competitive advantage, or you have a sustainable competitive advantage. And that means you will focus on the value creation and not just about I am cheaper today, because then someone else will beat you on that. So focus on value creation, not on cost management to that extent.
Great. Anji. Yes. Can we have a mic there?
Good evening, sir. So you mentioned that allow team members to take decisions. Were you referring to only the management team, or you are talking about the people on the floor?
I mean, management team is the most vulnerable team which has a habit of aligning to bosses fastest. They will quickly align with you. The shop floor team will not align with you. They will try to see, does this really make sense? So when I say decision making has to be everyone, I mean, if my time is so precious and I want to grow my organization, am I the one who should be deciding what food we should be? So what I do is, this is my budget. This is the budget of a food. You decide. Why do I carry that headache? Because then they can build themselves very quickly. The transport. Why do? I said, find out the best way knowing this cost. So allow people to take decision. They will do wonders. You will get a huge loyalty. And our job is to back them when they fail and celebrate when they succeed. Because then the behavior gets repeated when you acknowledge. When you say you are doing good, what happens to our kids? They start doing good. That's why. So you need to make that habit in the organization. Allow them to take decisions. It won't go wrong.
You mentioned about decisions which are not related to the core work, core competency, your production or something like that. So is it about those decisions or are the decisions which are the secondary decisions?
I mean, I'm talking about even your strategic decision. Imagine if we all co-create a plan, the likelihood of being that successful is very higher. So you need to involve. Many people decide vision in one box, in one corner with top 3 people, and explain that to people. How can they be aligned when they are not a co-creator? From that to how do we buy pain or how do we make this customer happy? You keep involving them. Keep involving them.
You have handled large teams. Will it not create chaos?
I don't think it creates chaos because then you need to, when you go out of any such thing without setting up a process, then it becomes chaotic. So when you want to award someone, as soon as you award someone, what happens? That person feels good at that moment, but the 10 others start criticizing. How can this person be good? Because they were not involved in the award decision making. So when you make a process of anything, you can manage the chaos. And why do I call chaos when I set up a process? I get 1 Kaizen per employee per day. And if I have 100 people, you know the organizational improvements we achieve, taking the cost out or waste out of the process. So, I mean, you try this out in a limited area if you want, or one channel or one management group and make those. This all depends on the quality of people we lead. So also look at when this is becoming a chaos, are we doing this systematically or just being ad hoc on this?
Thank you, sir.
I think the takeaway is focus on the quality of people you have, give them the freedom to decide, and once if they fail, back them up, and if they succeed, reward them, celebrate the success. I think that's a wonderful formula how you can create an environment of decision making. Haji, piche se.
Hello.
Hey, Santosh, hi.
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 Ajay, we have seen you from Pune to Ahmedabad to Sweden. You have showed us about the Swedish people, Swedish culture and their qualities. I know you are a true Indian by heart. So according to you, what are those good qualities of Indians, Indian organizations, Indian people, which we should focus on, nurture on, and take it to international level to enhance our business to international level?
Absolutely. I mean, when I say Sweden's, these are my learning out of Sweden, not undermining our Indian potential, because I'm too Indian sitting there. What I like is our really ability to work hard. One of the things Sweden and I see a difference is the society is very individualistic there. So everyone thinks for themselves, and we have a responsibility. We are always taking care of the family. The caring part is far more superior in our society. The knowledge, hard work, caring comes. The family orientation, what we carry, everyone treats their organization as a family. That is not there in society there. I mean, work and home are very separated. In our families, everyone knows about what we do and who are our bosses and colleagues and friends. So there are a lot of aspects. Our individual capability of hunger for knowledge, the education, focus on education on an individual level is very high in our society. And that can take us, when we learn some of the consensus and how to work in teams, that can excel us. And there are many, as I'm thinking and talking at the same time.
And what are the things we should give up?
Many things. I mean, I would say we should give up untimeliness. I mean, we should be really...
The slide which you had all those points.
I mean, that we should really bring. The the hierarchy which I grew up with. We can really, because then that will explore, give us opportunity to leverage our people's power. We saw that very, very, very strongly. I would say the discipline in the society. I'm not talking workplace. Probably people follow rules, regulation better in the workplace. But if you see the traffic sense and other things, how do we educate already our employees on that? The safety aspect in our industry, we need to educate more on that. That we should really focus on. The negligence on safety, environment. These two things I really care now much more than what I used to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I actually had a very similar question. You spoke very well about the Swedish culture and how you dealt with the workers there and how you involved them in managing everything. But I also want to ask how to deal with the Indian employees, how to, what care should the small entrepreneurs should take?
I mean, we as a society, we all know very emotional. I mean, the pat on the back can make operators' day from the bosses, like acknowledging that, right? But also, at some point of time, it develops mediocrity. And when I say mediocrity, is that if you want to acknowledge, please make sure that you explain why you are acknowledging, and don't be generic. I like your dress, great today, or you did a great job. But if you don't explain what exactly you mean by this, when I can tell you, when we were drilling in our Ahmedabad factory, the drilling metal burr was on the shop floor, falling on the shop floor. An operator never thought that this is my job to clean. Then there is one person who will clean this, right? And when I see this in Sweden, they do this, but then they also take care of that. How do we build that? Because we have a labor dignity quotient, a bit hierarchical. Like, this is my job, this is not my job. So that you can start changing. Competence shift, I would say you should try to do that, because technology is evolving almost every day. That you should focus. And also check what is happening around us and how are we becoming relevant or going to be irrelevant soon. That check as an industrialist is very, very important because of the technology competition. Don't allow India to be a cheap base of supplier. Make it a value-driven supply chain. We will succeed far better than anyone else. Our product quality has evolved a lot. I mean, our products are going everywhere in the world. Yeah? And then there are small hiccups keeps coming all the time. Make sure that we are not 90% quality supplying country, but 100% product and service both. That would give us a strong leverage. We already have an advantage over China. Okay, so use that.
Okay. We are running short of time. And Manit, last question, and then we move on. Haji.
Namaste, sir. Sir, almost you have been in SKF almost for 37, 38 years, I believe. And you have done a lot of various jobs. You have handled a lot of various positions. Sir, I am really curious to know that what have you thought that after the retirement or after leaving SKF, so what will be your plan? Where
You have
be?
some plan for him in mind, it seems.
Sir, actually, sir is very reactive and he works on gut feeling, but I am pretty much sure that he have a plan for that time. And one additional question in this, sir, will you be planning to stay in India or in Sweden after?
मुझे मालूम है इसका कहाँ जा रहा है ये.
Yes. I mean, I left India when I was very close to 50. And last 8 years, 7 years, I am there. So, establishing myself beyond work will always be difficult for me. The quality of life, but where my kids are, that will decide. But one thing is for sure, that I would like to bring back a lot of my learnings to India and help, not as a part of my next career inning, but as a part of a bit of a service, but also making it to my people in my country. The characteristics which I showed on what I learned, basically equality, inclusiveness, consensus, innovation, and we will. I would like to work around that. I have a question for you. I have a question for you here. If you look at the organization and put up in the sequence, say if you are an operation manufacturing guy, so on top it comes sales or customer, you are in operations, and here is a supplier. Where do you see operation when I show in this sequence? In the middle. Now this is very important word, and thank you for saying that. 9 out of 10 say this, it's in the middle. Tell me, when you are in the middle of something, what happens to your behavior? You are always in the middle of something. Then what happens to your behavior? Anxiety, stress, यार blaming, यार वो कस्टमर पैसे नहीं दे रहा है, आई एम इन द मिडल ऑफ समथिंग, अभी मैं इधर से सप्लायर भी प्रॉब्लम कर रहा है, कस्टमर का मैं बीच में अटक गया हूँ. Your body reacts differently just by assuming that I am in the middle of something. Now we just have the same sequence, but I put up a circle on operation, then big circle on supplier, and one circle on customer. And then all of a sudden you are in the center of it. You are not middle, you are at the center of everything. When you are at the center of anything, what happens to you? Now here I am at the center of this conference. What happens to me? I am more cautious, feel responsible, wanting to add a value. So think of that, am I at the center of everything of my business, or am I at the middle of my business?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Second one, you should also think that we talk about, by any cost you need to do this. We often use this. यार कुछ भी करो ये होना चाहिए. How many times we use this? Is there anyone using this? ये करना है at any cost. Everyone.
हर दिन.
Why do you have to pay cost of doing anything when we can do at the complement of everything? How can we do instead of cost of everything to complement of everything? Then what MG is trying to tell you, it's of the complement. So what is the story? You have a reading habit, Achhi Sangat. When you have that personal transformation, you start taking care more of your business. So it's about complementing everything. Work-life balance is not 8 hours sleep. It's about bit more than that. So think of, am I doing at the cost of something, or am I doing at the complement of everything? It's a difficult journey, but we can try it out. No?
Now the gems are coming out. Ashwin, last question from your side. आत्मा रात को भटकेगी. माइक आ गया.
Thank you. When you are talking about building teams, as teams is one of the ways to get the success for the organization. So sometimes a senior level or a old teammate leaves the organization for any other purpose. Building a team again is a bit of a challenge because the things are aligned over the years. How should we approach this kind of, like, we get talent from outside, the internal team is not very happy getting aligned, and the operations suffer. So what should be the approach in such crisis situation?
I mean, the people who are part of our organization were also external at some point of time, right? So that's the one thing we should remember. Secondly, job rotation make a part of your organization's agenda. Job rotation. In most of the organization, we are 2-3 people are go-to person, and rest of the people follow. But job rotations gives people a lot of exposures. Don't be afraid of allowing people to take the roles. To practice that, if you are a bit scared and we are short of resources, make a habit in your management team. So what we did actually, when we have 25 factories and I am reviewing all 25 factories, what happens to other 24 when I'm reviewing a factory. They just sit quiet because they know bakra kisto pe next mahi hu, fir next mahi hu. So what we did, I say I will not do your review. Each factory will review other factory. And my assessment is, because then it's challenging your peers, because they are all at the same level, part of the same management team. But then I said, I will be evaluating you on the critical questions you ask, but at the same time, how respectfully you will ask those questions. And he says, next 3 months, these factories will be reviewed by this person. What happens? Everyone becomes attentive. Everyone started asking critical questions. The entire management team learned, which was only I was learning what happens in Italy, Masa factory, to Poland factory, to UK factory. But now everyone got. And what happens? And then they says, bloody hell, we all have the same challenge. What happens then? You try to solve it collectively. That's the way to allow your management to step up. We make functions and call them teams. So मेरे team में purchase है, supply chain है. No, you are part of management team. You only represent functions, but you are part of management team. So you need to step up to solve management challenge, not functional challenge. So that helps people to develop, and then you find a lot of diversity, different views, and that gives us so much of a strength. So try to do that.